Perfect. And you're recording to the cloud, right?
Yes, it shows a cloud.
Yes, Mansi, you're recording to the cloud?
Yes.
Remember, I can't hear anyone. Yes, cloud, okay. अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्रीविद्या शिववामभागनिलया ह्रीङ्कारमन्त्रोज्ज्वला श्रीचक्राङ्कितबिन्दुमध्यवसति श्रीमत्सभानायिका श्रीमत् षण्मुखविघ्नराजजननी श्रीमज्जगन्मोहिनी मीनाक्षीं प्रणतोऽस्मि सन्ततमहम् कारुण्यवारानिधिम्। All glories to the Divine Mother, who brought the grace of the Divine Master in our lives. All glories to our Master, who is slowly and steadily taking away the darkness that we behold within us to light. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. So, last time we looked at the story of the prince Mahasen, the Rishi, Tanga Rishi, and his son, the little yogi. So last time we covered the story aspect. Today is the subject. The story is really, everyone loves stories. But today is going to be subject matter. And the only way one can understand the subject matter is if they're aligned with the grace. To align with the grace, you just have to empty your mind. Your mind is empty, you are aligned straight up with grace. It's like holding an umbrella outside when it is bright outside. The umbrella is your mind. If the umbrella has many designs, Think about all that as conditionings, the beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions that are in there. The busy umbrella is preventing the grace that's ever present from dawning within. So, putting our hands together, begging the Master for grace. So, the words that are flowing through this instrument in the hands of the Master and getting into the ears of the other instrument, let that also be in the hands of the Master. So we may understand, not only understand intellectually, but experientially, we understand what we're going to talk about. So we know whatever happened, Mahasen came out of that rock and he was grieving. It is very important for us to see how the yogi imparted knowledge to Mahasen, who was really grieving. Grieving is something that comes very natural to us, especially in this day and age when, this pandemic of the coronavirus is going on. Panic, fear of losing loved ones comes very naturally to an uncultivated mind. So let's hear each instruction of how the yogi, who is situated in constant communion. A yogi is one who, like Swami was mentioning in his live streaming today, a yogi has twofold qualities. One, he has devotion to the higher. And two, he's in constant communion. So devotion and constant communion with the divine makes us yogis. So this yogi is now imparting knowledge to Mahasen, who may or may not have devotion and who is definitely not in constant communion with the higher self. To the one who has devotion and is in constant communion, the one who has tasted higher, who has tasted something higher than the worldly objects or worldly pleasures, to such a person, the worldly objects, the gratification of worldly objects and worldly contact seems not too great. So from such a person, Mahasen, who is nothing but all of us, will get knowledge from a yogi. So after coming out of the hill, this is what happened. After awakening, Mahasen saw his former world before entering the rock, how the world was, and after he exited, how the world was. Everything seemed different. Okay? The yogi said, here is still another universe. How wonderful it is. He didn't say, oh look, the same world now appears different. He said, till the time we were in the rock, there was a different world that had its own beauty. And now we are in a different world, and yet see how beautiful it is, how wonderful it is. The yogi replied, oh prince, this is the same country we lived before. A long time has passed. That is why it seems fresh and new. See, right over there, my Almighty Father is still in Samadhi. This is the very place where you praised him with great honor. Remember? In front of you is the huge rock which you entered. Inside that rock, you saw a new world created through yogic powers. During that period, thousands of years have passed. Remember the scene. Mahasen is now grieving. Because yogi is now telling him, while we were in the rock, what construed outside. Yogi is describing. He says, in your country of Vangadesh actually, in your country of Vang, where the beautiful capital Sundarpur existed, there is a thick, huge forest. Veerabahu comes from your brother's lineage. His capital, Vishal, in the state of Malav, is situated on the bank of Tripura river. There is another king, Susharma, descended from him, who rules the Dravid country, living in the city of Vardhana near the Tamraparni river. These are just descriptions he's giving. Oh, the state you were living in, that's dense forest now. Some descendants of you are here, some descendants are there. And then he says something very, very important for all of us to understand. Such is the state of the world, O Mahasain. Such is the state of the world, which is ever changing. In a few moments, a completely new world appears. After many, many years, these mountains, rivers, lakes, and earth itself will change. Change is the habit of the world. If this is, and as Swami repeatedly keeps saying, this is such a great teaching to digest and to absorb. Change is the habit of the world. Not only the external world, the internal world too keeps changing. Today you hold a certain mood, tomorrow morning you'll have a totally different one. Today you hold a view about coronavirus, tomorrow morning you'll have a totally different view. Lowlands rise, mountains crumble into pits, and deserts become tropical rocky land. Tropical rocky land becomes sandy, and sandy land turns rocky. Infertile lands become fertile, and lush lands become infertile. Gems turn into pebbles, and pebbles into precious gems. Fresh water becomes salty, salty water becomes sweet. Countries inhabited by men become havens for animals. When you go to India and you visit these beautiful forts that used to be in full glory, now they're just abandoned. Some government takes care, some is just abandoned places where crimes happen. These changes occur on earth in the course of time. The earth remains the same, deeply grieved. You see, the yogi was mentioning all these changes as a matter of fact. This is changing, that is changing, all these things you see, they'll all change. Lands will turn into fertile, infertile lands will become fertile. No big deal. He's just saying as a matter of fact. Just, oh, by the way, all this is changing. But see, Mahasain, which is our state, deeply grieved, Mahasain fainted. He just fainted thinking, oh my God, thousands of years have passed. He just fainted. Revived by the yogi, he plunged into grief and started mourning for his wife, brother, and children. The young sage consoled him with his wisdom. Oh, Prince, you're a brilliant man. Why do you mourn? You see, how does the yogi know that Mahasain is a brilliant man? How does he know? Because the seed of self-realization exists in Mahasain, he came across the yogi's father. Because the seed of realization, because of the seed of self-realization, because the seed of enlightenment existed in Mahasain, he bowed down to the yogi in reverence. He sent his entire group of soldiers back, but he says, I'm going to stay here because I want to know what is all this. If he had no curiosity, he would have said, who the hell cares about this yogi? I got my horse back, I got my soldiers back, see you later. But that was not his attitude. He was jignasu. He wanted to know, what is this? Who is this father? How many years has he been in samadhi? And who is this kid who pulled my horses and my soldiers into that rock? What is all this? He wanted to know. Hence, the yogi knew that the young prince was a brilliant man. He had the seeds in him. See, a yogi will never waste time with someone who doesn't have the seeds. If you don't bow down to the yogi, if you don't bow down to a devotee, to a master, it is your loss. They are complete. They are in constant communion with the higher. They don't even care whether some people bow down or people don't bow down, because they have reached that state. We, on the other hand, with our logical mind, we're like, oh, he may not be the real deal. Let me not bow down. So it's our loss. So the young sage consoled him with his wisdom. "O prince, you're a brilliant man. Why do you mourn? A wise man never does anything without a purpose." This is another thing that we should digest and assimilate within us. A wise man never does anything without a purpose. Because remember, a wise man's awareness is situated in the higher self, is in the Satyalok, which means if he just does some gibberish thinking, it will manifest. Because the mind of that person is flooded with Chit Shakti, which is Sankalp Shakti of Paramatma, which is the Divine Mother. So such a person is very careful about what he speaks, what he commits to, and what he thinks. Because he knows whatever he just thinks will manifest. Whatever he says will manifest. Because the mind is flooded with the Chit Shakti or the Sankalp Shakti, or the power of determination of the Supreme Lord, which is Mother Divine. Hence, we never question the Guru. Whatever the Guru says, we take it as Brahma Vakya. Guru Vakya is mantra, highest of the mantra. We never question what he says, because to question his words, we don't have the intellect. Our intellect is still 99.9% thoughts, emotions, views, and all that BS. And maybe 0.00001% surrender, faith, whatever you want to call it. Hence, we never question a guru's instruction or guru's words. Because the mind interferes. Mind says, oh, it's such a simple instruction. Come on. I should have gotten some long mantra somewhere. I should have done this. This is not enough. Swami has given such a simple thing for Navdurga sadhana. But people are asking, oh, can I also do this with it? Can I also do that? Do it. Do whatever. And then he's like, do it. I haven't asked you. You can do whatever you want, in addition to what I've said. So, carrying on. Now tell me the cause of your grief, and how will it serve you? Mahasen replied with great anguish. O sage, can you not see the cause of my grief? See, the suffering of someone who is in the world is real to them. Someone whose awareness has risen just a little above, to them that suffering is, hey, why are you suffering? This is self-created. But to the one suffering, the suffering is real. O sage, can you not see the cause of my grief? Even knowing that I have just lost everything, you're asking this question? A person who loses just one family member is overcome with grief. But I have lost my whole family and my kingdom. And still you're asking why I'm sad? Is it this sounds very similar to what Arjun went through, right? We all have to go through this, the Vishad Yoga. Only after the Vishad Yoga will the Lord speak. The sage, laughing, asked Prince. It's like, a child crying bitterly to the mother that the toy is broken. The toy is just one click and you can fix it back. But the child is crying bitterly. The mother's like, Arre, don't cry. It's so simple, don't cry. But the child is crying bitterly. So the mother is not crying with the child. The mother knows it's no big deal. But to the child, the suffering is real. The sage, laughing, asked, Prince, is it your family tradition to believe that if you do not grieve, a great misfortune will befall you? Do you think that by lamenting, those things will be regained? Only a sage, only a yogi can speak such words. Is it your family tradition to cry like this? And do you think by crying you can get whatever has been lost? Have courage and know that by grieving, nothing is achieved. If you think it is necessary to grieve for lost relatives, then you should continue grieving your whole life for your grandfather, your grandfather's grandfather, for your grandfather's grandfather. Keep crying. Do not stop. If you think grieving is necessary for the lost ones, sit and grieve for all your ancestors. Your whole life should be nothing but grieving. These are words of wisdom. Why do you not express your grief for them also? And then, the sage goes on to say, you're crying for your ancestors, right? But the human body is not just the Pancha Mahabhutas. It's not just flesh and bones. It is a growing laboratory. It's a petri dish with so many microorganisms living in a symbiotic relationship in the human body. The gut has flora. The intestines have a lot of microbes that live in perfect harmony with you. When the balance is tipped, you end up in disease. But it's a symbiotic relationship. The body, the food we eat, some of it is taken up by the microorganisms. The microorganisms give something back. So you think your body is just flesh and bones? No, think again. Your body has millions and millions of bugs, microbes. They're part of you. When you drop this body, all those, remember, they were present in your ancestors' body too, and their ancestors too, which means not just grieving for your ancestors, you have to grieve for them also, all the microbes that were dead in your body. Will you do that? Because yesterday we were having the satsang and we talked about how to rise above the fear of a loved one. This is all the description that's given. Because of lack of self-knowledge, we think the body is me. The death of the body is my death. All this needs to be put into practice little by little, little by little. And then eventually, because this is all about bhavana yoga, how to have one thought without doubt. Any thought without doubt is meditation, is a constant thought. What is meditation? It's one constant thought. When you live with one thought, mother alone is. I'm the child of the mother. All other, and there is no doubt about that. When there is no doubt, this constant thought becomes that projector that projects your movie, the life of your movie. The entire movie is, I am the child of the Divine Mother. Apart from that, there will be nothing. Because there's no doubt, this thought attains constant thinking. So here, he's saying, Prince, remember who you really are. Why this sorrow? Are you the body or are you different from it? The body is composed of many elements. He's saying you're not actually the body, although you have a body. Just as you say that these are my garments, you also say this is my body. Can you explain how you and your body are one and the same? They are not. You see, in every Tripura Rahasya satsang, this one thing that create that distance between who you truly are and what you're not. The things you have versus who you are. This is all, even Hemlekha Hemchud Upakhyan, right? In that, she says, is that your body? Are you the body? Are you the mind? Every story will only talk about one truth because the truth is the same. Lies are many because everyone creates lies according to what they think is right. The lies can be many. Truth is always one. So again, he's saying, can you explain how you and your body are one and the same? They're not. Don't have doubt regarding this, O Prince. What relationship do you establish between yourself and another body? Do you ever look at others' garments and think, oh, they're mine? No. Do you ever grieve if others' garments are lost? Why are you grieving over all these people who are dead? They have just left that garment, just like you are separate from your body. They are separate from their body. They have cast off a garment and you're crying over they changing the garment. Why? Mahasein started pondering this puzzle. He wanted to solve it. See, this is how we know he had the seeds of self-realization in him. He could have easily been like, you crazy yogi, I don't want to listen to you. Let me just grieve. But see, he pondered over this puzzle. Sometimes we hear things we just cannot fathom, we just cannot understand with our intellect. The mind says, no, how can it be true? Yet, faith says, let me give it a thought. Let me not just discard it because it doesn't appeal to my conscious mind. Because it doesn't appeal to my senses, because I cannot prove it. Let me not just discard it. Let me have faith in someone whose mind is flooded with Divine Mother. Let me listen. With that faith, we listen to the Master. Mahasein started pondering this puzzle. He wanted to solve it. And when he could not find the answer, he again became sad and humbly said, he didn't say, Lord, I get it. Let me just think about it. He said, Lord, I do not really know who I am. Without knowing the exact reason, out of habit, I'm feeling sad. Another yet extremely powerful statement. Lord, I do not know who I am. I have read books. I have listened to satsangs. I have listened to discourses. I am that is such a cliched statement, but the truth is, I don't experience it. I don't know. Sadhguru constantly says, I don't know is a great possibility. I know is closing the doors on all possibilities because you already know your cup is full. I don't know is the beginning, is opening that door and saying there's a possibility. If not, you stay in that dark room and you're like, oh, it's dark, it's dark, it's dark, it's dark. All right, suffer, keep suffering. The day you say, I don't know, that door opens. I am helpless. I surrender myself at your feet. Lord, what is the secret? When someone dies, his relatives grieve. They do not know their essential nature, yet they grieve. If we actually astutely observe why people grieve when the other person is dead, right? If you astutely observe, and it's like a bitter truth, it is because the selfish desires that were getting fulfilled because of the presence of the other person are no more going to be fulfilled. Those selfish desires could be emotional support, physical presence, the love that you're getting from the other person, or the money that you're getting from the other person. It could be anything. If you think about all your relationships, they are actually all selfish to some degree. Because we are going to be observing relationships astutely. Only a mother-child relationship is the one that is unconditional. Mother has no expectations from the child and she just gives. Which is why the relationship of a guru and disciple are that of a mother and a child. The Vatsalya Bhav, the motherly affection. The guru's love for the disciple can only be compared to a motherly love. He has no expectations. He's only there to give. The disciple, has expectations. The child has expectations from the mother. The mother has no expectations. The guru has no expectations. All other relations, there is expectation. There is some food that you're getting from the presence of the other person in your life. For a child, it's a sense of security, a sense of refuge. My parents are here. They're taking care of me. My mother is here. My father is here. For a spouse, I get emotional support. I get that physical support, a companionship. If you think about it, it's all about I. What am I getting from my spouse? What am I getting from my spouse's presence in my life? So the yogi is saying, Mahasen is saying, when someone dies, his relatives grieve. They do not know their essential nature, yet they grieve. Lord, I submit myself to you. Please accept me as your disciple. Please explain this whole thing to me. Hearing this, the sage's son spoke. Listen, Mahasen. People deluded by illusory power of the great goddess do not realize their essential nature and grieve uselessly. Mother's name is Vidya Avidya Swarupini. Vidya and Avidya are both forms of the Divine Mother. Those who still do not have the seeds of self-realization are constantly looking at the wall, the mural, and they're lost in the mural. The ones who have the seed of self-realization, she makes them turn around and look at the source. Now the question arises, how to get that seed? And that's where, if you remember, going back to Parshuram's story, a lot of satkarma. First, he went around killing, right? He slayed as a part of dharma, not out of just anger, because he was manifested from not the anger aspect of Lord Vishnu, but the aspect that establishes dharma. He was manifested by that ansh of Vishnu. So he performed whatever he had to perform, because that's what drove him into his actions, that ansh. But when he broke the dhanush of Sri Ram, that ansh of Lord Vishnu was pulled back by Sri Ram. And then he said, where do you want me to put these arrows? He said, destroy all the good karmas, take away all of that. So a lot of good karma that he had done got him to a state of having that seed, which is why he met Samvrit Rishi. So satsang with a great realized master only happens when we have done punya karma or good karmas. See, there are various stages. There is a stage wherein the instruction is satyam vada dharmam chara. Speak the truth and do the right thing. Speak the truth, do the right thing. The child is taught, this is good thing, this is bad. Don't do these things, don't speak a lie, don't harm others, be kind, be generous. This is a stage. Then after doing a lot of good karma, which is yam niyam of Patanjali sutras, when after accumulating a lot of good karmas, the seed is given by the Divine Mother. Then to such a person, she says, all right, now you may turn around. Which is why random acts of kindness, be kind, do random acts of kindness, accumulate that goodness. Like, Valmiki Rishi, he started saying Ram, 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 Ram. He had no bhavana, he had no bhav, he was actually saying Mara, 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 Mara. But that name is so purifying that although he said it with no bhav, and he was actually saying the other way, Mara, 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 because it had Ram in it, that gave him that seed. And that seed caused him to turn around. So there is no doubt that Mother has blessed us all. There is not an ounce of doubt. Because here we are sitting and listening about Tripura Rahasya, the essence of the Divine Mother. This is truly her grace. We already have the human body. We have a master and we have the grace. What is stopping us from getting rid of these mental constructs, of these expectations, of this self-created misery? What's stopping us? Lack of courage. Because there is a sense of security in holding on to what you already know. To let go takes courage. To hold on to, oh, I know this is right. I know this is what my expectation should be. I know this is how he should be or she should be. It's very comforting. Because whatever you know, the mind loves whatever it's filled with. It doesn't want to let go. But the courage is in letting go. So the sage is saying, the sage's son spoke, listen, Mahasen, people deluded by the illusory power of the great goddess do not realize this essential nature and grieve uselessly. Every time you find yourself grieving, sad, know that it is self-created misery, that you are not ready to let go of something. As long as they do not realize the Atman, they are overcome by sorrow. After realization, one no longer grieves, just as one forgets his dream identity and concerns as soon as he awakens. Then he starts talking about a magician and a dreamer. He says a magician is doing the trick, right? Let's say he's creating the illusion of snakes flying into the audience. He's creating an illusion. The kids, people watching it for the first time are getting scared. But the one who knows, wait a second, I know his tricks. I've been his friend. Let's say you are a magician's friend and you know how he does all these tricks. You're also sitting in the audience. Everyone around you is freaking out. You're like, really? Come on, stop freaking out. You're telling them, they don't get it. They're seeing the imaginary snakes falling on them and they're freaking out. But you are a friend of the magician. You know all his tricks. You've grown up together. You've seen all the behind the scenes. You are not going to freak out or you're not going to grieve. Similarly, he's saying in a dream state, you might be attacked by a tiger. The tiger is cutting through your flesh. You're feeling the pain. You're screaming. As soon as you wake up, you're like, oh, damn, that was just a dream. So the sage is saying, think about it that way. Likewise, a person who has realized the self and crossed the mire of delusion feels compassion for pitiful people like you. See, it is only out of compassion the yogi is speaking to Mahasen, who's grieving, who fainted. Not just grieving, he fainted. So he's saying, person who has realized the self and crossed the mire of delusion feels compassion for pitiful people like you. So Mahasen says, Lord, the example of dreams and magic does not seem to be appropriate. He's being truthful. He's like, you're talking about dreams and magic. It doesn't seem appropriate. He's saying, when I'm awake, everything is so tangible. I can touch it. I can feel it. It's so real. In dream, it's not real. So how can you compare dream to real waking state reality? It's not appropriate. You can't even compare magician. Magician is just doing a magic. But the real life is real. The suffering is real. The yogi responded, the objects created in a dream, the yogi responded, Prince, listen. What you said about my example not fitting in another example of what you said about my example not fitting is another example of misunderstanding. Because now Mahasen is saying, oh Lord, you cannot compare dream state and magic show to real life. Real life is real. Magic show, you know it's not real. Dream, you know it's not real. How can you compare that to real life? So to that, the yogi is saying, your thinking that that example is not fitting is yet another misunderstanding. He is saying you are as doubly confused as a person confused in a dream. You know, sometimes in a dream you're confused whether this is dream or reality. So now then he says, a dream tree serves a purpose in the dream, right? You think that you are resting nicely under a tree in the dream. The dream tree is serving a purpose in the dream, right? And then he says, is it possible for travelers to rest under your dream tree? In the waking state, you have some people walking around in the heat. Can they rest under your dream tree? No. But in the dream, it serves the purpose. As the dreamers are satisfied during dreaming, those who are awake cannot enjoy the fruits of their dreams. In the dream, you meet Swami. You wake up, oh, there's no Swami. You're like, oh man, I want to go back in the dream. In the dream, it served the purpose, right? If you say that dream objects, then he's saying, okay, so you are saying the dream objects, let's say I dream of a tree. As soon as I wake up, there is no tree. So how can you compare dream life to waking state? Is what Mahasen is saying. The yogi is saying, you think the dream objects are not available in waking state. I agree with you. And then he's saying, but what happens to all these objects that you see in the waking state in deep sleep? Where do they go? In deep sleep, you don't even know who you are, man or woman. You don't know what your profession is. You don't know where you are sleeping. You don't know whether you even exist or not. After you wake up, you say, wow, I slept well. I had no dreams. So did you wake up and say, oh, while I was in deep sleep, I knew that the table was here, or I knew my phone was kept there? So he's trying to the yogi is trying to explain to Mahasen that the dream world and the waking world are two parallel worlds. As the dream world seems true in the dream, so does the waking world seem true when you're awake. In deep sleep, there is no waking world. There are no objects. And then he's saying that if you claim that when you wake up, the objects that were there yesterday are still there today, right? You go to sleep on your bed, you keep the phone to the side. In deep sleep, there is no person, there is no bed, there is no phone. But as soon as you wake up, there is a person, there is a bed, and there is a phone. So the yogi is saying, you may claim and say that, wait a second, in the dream, I dreamt of a tree, but as soon as I wake up, it was gone. But the waking state, whatever I see, after I come out of the deep sleep, they're still there. You can say that. So he's saying, now tell me, is it not true that dream objects can also be re-experienced? You see, when I was a student, I used to constantly have dreams that there was a submission and then I didn't do that submission. Or there was something that needed to be submitted and I didn't do it. Same dream over and over and over and over again. So he's saying, just like, you wake up, you find the phone, you find the bed. Again, the next night you go to sleep, you wake up, you find yourself, you find the phone, you find the bed. It's happening again and again. Similarly, the dream state also can be re-experienced again and again. Then he's saying, if you say that in a dream, there is no recurrence of dream experience and consequently the objects of the dream are unreal, then listen. Where is the recurrence of a given object in the waking state? Since the objects in the waking state are also changing. You see, when we go to sleep, when we go into deep sleep, we think everything is as is, right? We think the phone is as is, the body is as is. But in that deep sleep, the body has undergone transformation. Many cells have died, many new cells have come about. The food that we have eaten was in a different state, and now it has gone into the intestines and has transformed into a different state. Initially in the stomach, it was mixed up with gastric juices. As it's in the intestines, now it is flooded with microbes. The constitution of the urine has also changed. We slept for like maybe 7 hours. The urine constitution has changed. The muscles in deep sleep have released lactic acid. The muscles have changed. The arteries have carried oxygenated blood from various parts, have carried deoxygenated blood. The heart was pumping. Everything is changing. The phone, something as simple as a phone, it was just laying there. Maybe some updates happened. Maybe some parts are getting weaker inside. You don't know. I certainly don't know what changes could have happened. The AC was running. It has circulated that air so many times. It's totally different air. Everything around has changed. Yet you believe, because the bhavana is so, the thinking is so without doubt, that the phone is the same, I am the same, the bed is the same. The bed could have just gotten a little bit weaker. Some wood somewhere could have gotten a little bit, out of shape. We just don't know. But the bhavana is so strong. I'm going to sleep on this bed. I'm going to wake up the same. Hence, it appears that nothing has changed. It is all the same. And then he goes on to say, are you suggesting that mountains, ocean, earth, all these forms which we see really exist permanently the same? Are they the same? The ocean is changing. Many sea animals are dying. Many are being born. The coral reef is getting changed. So much is happening. Some pollution is getting added every day into oceans. All of these keep changing. How can they be real? He is actually bringing about the realization that everything is changing. Because we have a constant thought without doubt that everything is the same, it appears as the same. Now, if you start looking at it with a different view, saying truly, everything is changing. Everything is changing. The body is changing every second. The RBCs, the red blood cells, they don't live forever. They have a life cycle. After that, new ones are pumped out of bone marrow. Everything is changing. The hair is growing. Some hair is just getting shed. The nails are growing. We keep cutting them. Everything is changing in the human body. So if we truly hold on to this piece of knowledge, that impermanence is the only truth. The truth of the world is impermanence. That world could be outer or inner. Impermanence is the foundation. Everything is changing. He's saying, I'm telling you, Mahasen, try to think at a more subtle level. Objects in both dreaming and waking states are constantly subject to change. Tonight, I might dream of a tiger attacking me. Tomorrow, I might dream of a rock concert. The day after, I might dream of Swami. After that, I might dream of satsang. Everything is changing in my dream state. Same is the case with my outer world. That's also changing. Now imagine if I depend on my outside world, 100%, which is forever changing. We have, during Christmas time, there's a fair that comes near our house. And in that there is, a maze for kids to go through. It just amazes me every time. The scenes are ever changing. And the floor is also changing and you have to go. You have to cross. But that ever changing scene and the ever moving floor, you just have to walk straight. But it gets you because on the side there are circles. It just completely disorients you. You feel like it's a straight path. It's just moving slowly. It's like a belt that revolves and there are scenes changing. Every time I go with Smaran, it makes me feel like I'm going to lose balance. Because the dependence, if our dependence is purely on the outside world, on our spouses, on our children, on our jobs, on our abilities, on our memory, on our belief structures, we are bound to suffer because we are holding on to something that's changing and moving. Imagine going through that maze that I'm talking about. It's a straight road. There are no ditches on each side. You just have to cross. It's a small path too. But that floor is changing and the scenes are changing. And although it's a short distance, it feels like I'm going to fall off right now. So he's saying objects in the dreaming and waking states are constantly subject to change. However, in practical life, there is obviously some difference. In the waking state, the objects experienced are similar to the objects experienced in the dreaming state, right? If you have never tasted or even seen how African food looks like, you'll not dream of it because it's not in your memory. Or if I present African food in front of you, you won't know this is African food because it's not in your memory. If you consider dreams illusory, I want to know what illusion is. Illusion depends on the appearance and disappearance of objects from our senses. Whatever is, I could be talking right now of this illusion of waking state, dreaming state, subject, this, that, and you could be dreaming of something that you did yesterday. So whatever I said, you didn't even hear it. You were present, but you didn't hear anything. Even your senses were engaged in listening. But what was not present? The mind. The mind was away, somewhere. So illusion depends on the appearance and disappearance of objects from our senses. Everything vanishes in deep sleep. This world is similar to the world experienced in the dream state. Dreams can also be prolonged. So he's saying the dream state and the waking state are exactly the same. It's like being in the rock versus being outside. While you were in the rock, you felt everything was real. I showed you valleys, mountains, cold places, hot places, beaches, palaces, good food, everything. It was all real to you. When you exited the rock, this is real to you. So it is the bhavana. You see, we all have the bhavana. Dreams are not real. Waking state is real. Hence, that's what we believe. That's what we are experiencing. So, because this chapter is all about bhavana yoga, you start detaching from everything that is impermanent, everything that is changing, and attach to that which never changes. That's the difference between yogi and mahasain, a yogi and us. We have a constant bhavana, this is real, this is real, this is real. Of course, that's going to be real. So all practice, all sadhana, constant thinking without doubt is bhavana. I don't know, some days I feel like mother is real, some days I feel like she's not real. That is not constant because it was the continuity was broken by doubt. When you have a constant thought without doubt, that is bhavana. Oh, some days this waking state seems real. Yeah, but the satsang, I felt like waking state is not real. That is not constant thinking. So what yogi is saying is, without doubt, it has to be done without doubt. Then it becomes constant thinking. As long as the dream persists, its objects appear real. They serve the intended purpose of the dream and appear perfectly stable. Objects in the external world corresponding to the waking state have exactly the same property, right? As long as we are awake, all of these objects, they are stable. They're not just floating. They are stable and we are experiencing. All of this waking state will disappear as soon as we slip into deep sleep. While in the dream state, that dream state appears real. The suffering in the dream state is real. Or the joy you experience is real. As soon as you wake up, oh, it's unreal. So it is relative. And why do we need to know all this? Oh, this is real, this is not real. So we may detach from the happenings of the external world, just like how we detach from the grief or sorrow or joy of the dream world. Just like how we have a firm faith, just like how we have a, a firm belief that the dream is unreal, the yogi is saying, extend that firm faith into your waking state too. And don't get too bogged down with what happens in the waking state. Know that both dream state and waking state are equally real, equally unreal. Attached to that which is ever present, whether you're dreaming, whether you're in deep sleep, or whether you're in wakeful state. And that is Tripura. Tripura. In the waking state, I am. The perceiver is the same. When you're dreaming, when you wake up, you say, oh, I had the dream, I saw Swami, or I saw this. Who was present? The I. In deep sleep, wherein there is neither the dream state nor the waking state, who was present as a witness? Which is why you're waking up and saying, I slept so well, I didn't even have a dream. So in these three cities, in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep, there was someone present. That someone, the presence of that is in the waking state, the presence of that is permeating the dream state, the presence of that is permeating the sleep state. Yet, that is beyond the three states. And that beyond is the Turiya. Turiya is the fourth state. Her majesty is in the fourth state. From the fourth state, her presence permeates the three states. Bhur, Bhuvaha, Swaha. All the three states. So Gayatri Mantra is, I pray to that, the fourth state, which is the continuity of Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. That's Savitur, that sun that lightens up the dream state, waking state, and deep sleep. I pray to that. That sun not only lights up the outside sun, it is the sun within me that lights up all of these states, and that sun is Tripura. That's why Tripura is a Mahamantra. Which is why Durvasa Rishi composed Tripura Mahimna Stuti, the Mahima of Tripura. He starts the Tripura Mahimna Stuti by Shri Mata Tripure Parat Paratare Devi. The Sambodhan, the address to the Divine Mother is Shri Mata. O Mother Divine, Tripure, you are Tripura. Parat Paratare, you are beyond the three worlds. Devi, you are Div, you are Prakash, you are illumination, you are that light. The beauty of, and then in the second line he says, your beauty, the beauty of Tripura, is the beauty which is derived by churning an ocean full of worldly beauty. Whatever beautiful thing you can think of, churn. And the essence you bring out is Tripura. Because no matter how beautiful the outside world, no matter how beautiful the inner world, it cannot be experienced without Tripura Sundari, without the true beauty that is the I. Till the time you are alive, there is no beauty that can be experienced, which is why Mother's name is Tripura Sundari. Ambe Jagdambe, Ambe Jagdambe, Ambe Jagdambe, Ambe Jagdambe. देखी है अंबिका जगत जननी त्रिपुर सुंदरी अम्बे जगदम्बे अम्बे जगदम्बे. So the one whose refuge we seek is Ambe Jagdambe. She is Tripura Sundari. How fearless and how joyful should we be? So coming back to the dream state and the world, the waking state, he says, Prince, after realizing Atman, you will know everything I'm saying is true. Only when the grace descends, only when you make yourself available for grace. Let me not say grace descends. Grace is always there, descending 24/7. You are sitting there with an umbrella. You're missing out. Empty your mind, empty your mind, empty your mind. And then grace is going to completely drench you. The world you just experienced is an example of my statement, which is what he says, that I created a thought and I had no doubts about it, because that's what I have perfected, Bhavna Yoga. And I said, in this rock, I'm going to create is going to be my world. My world is going to be like this, and like this. Because I was already situated in yoga, that became true. Like two different dreams, you cannot explain one in terms of the other. The obvious conclusion is that the whole universe is one's own imagination. Right? Our imagination is, this world is, because that is what we are taught from, as I was saying, a child is taught, look at the world, this is this is that, this is this. But a child is never taught that the aspect of you that makes you able to perceive the outside world, that is you. You are perceiving this outside world. Yes, A for apple. You perceive the outside apple because of the presence of something within you. That something is your soul, the Atman. It is the presence of the Atman that lets you perceive this apple. We just straight up go A for apple, B for boy, C for cat, and we just keep perceiving the outside world. We are never trained to perceive that which helps us perceive the outside world. So he's saying, this entire world is your own imagination. Without this imagination, it would disappear instantly, which is why the Vedas proclaim the entire sansar exists in your mind. To you, the husband is real, wife is real, children are real, friends are real, job is real, the suffering is real. Okay, that's the reality for you. You start perceiving something subtler beyond that. There's something happening beyond this scene. You start making your perception astute and astute and astute. You will see, wait a second, the scenes keep changing. The one seeing the scenes is the same. Just like in a movie, you're sitting and you're watching the scenes. The watcher is the same. So the more you connect with the one who is perceiving the world, the more you will establish yourself in the perceiver, which is the Divine Mother. The mind is like a canvas on which various objects of the universe appear to be painted. These objects are similar, like images seen in the mirror. The mirror, the surface of the mirror is never affected by no matter how dirty the object might be. You could be looking at a dirty box full of dust, but the image is also showing a dirty box, but the surface of the mirror is ever clean. So he's saying, instead of focusing on the dirty object, focus on the surface of the mirror. Look at the purity, look at the illumination it has. O Prince, realize that the self is manifesting itself in the world. The self is pure and supreme consciousness. Realizing this, experience the happiness within. So this is where chapter 13 ends. And next week we will go through chapter 14, because the stories are not just for entertainment, it is to relate. And then we have to relate, we have to get to the subject matter also. You see, when it was given to Parshuram, it was given so beautifully with the help of stories, because now we can imagine Mahasen, we can imagine his state of mind, we can think of the yogi, we can imagine his dispassion, and then how yogi is giving instructions to Mahasen. So the story is to help understand the subject matter. So today, what we saw is really the essence of the name Tripura, essence of the Divine Mother, who is in the Turiya, the fourth state. From the fourth state, Her Majesty watches the waking state, watches the dream state, and is the silent witness for the deep sleep. Yet, unattached from the three states, she is in the Turiya. She is the Turiya, the fourth, and that is Tripura Sundari. And today's satsang, the take home message is, just like how you easily discard the happenings of a dream, have the courage to not get bogged down by the happenings of the waking state. Because today we have established the dream state and the waking state are equally real and equally unreal. They exist because of Her Majesty's presence. Because in the deep sleep, there is neither dream state nor the waking state. That is why in the dream state, we are closest. We are the closest to the Divine Mother, which is why sleep is so comforting. Because no matter how rich a person is, no matter how involved he is in sense pleasures, at the end of the night, he says, now I'm going to sleep. Because the truth is, the bliss that he is seeking, no matter how much he engages in the world, at the end of the day, he only gets that bliss in deep sleep, in Her Majesty's lap, in the Divine Mother's lap. So again, the take-home message from today's satsang is, the dream state and the waking state are equally ignorable. Just like how you just discard and ignore the dream, similarly, you should discard and ignore the waking state. Doesn't mean you don't do anything. You engage willfully. You do whatever you need to do, but with a sense of dispassion. That wait, today my spouse is like this, tomorrow he or she may be totally different. Today my job is like this, tomorrow it could be different. Let me not get bogged down by the changes happening in the waking state. Let me have the courage. This path is for the one who has courage to let go. The one holding on is so easy. That's what we've been doing lifetimes to lifetimes. We've been holding on. Oh, how can I hold? How can I give up this? No one's asking you to give up family. No one's asking you to give up anything. Actually, bringing your awareness more with the Divine Mother, you start absorbing the qualities of the Divine Mother. And then your worldly actions, your worldly relations will be filled with love, will be filled with compassion. Actions happen from a state of being. If your awareness is in the mind, your actions will happen from the mind. Mind disturbed, actions disturbed. Mind sad, actions sad. Mind overreacting, actions overreacting. Mind empty, actions divine. Actions happen in a state of flow, in a state of being. So have courage to let go of whatever it is that you're holding on. It is truly liberating. But the mind, it's like suicide for the mind. So mind creates a lot of ruckus before it can let go. But have the courage to let go, let go, let go. The more you let go, the more you will fly. Because when you're in love, when you are joyful, the first thing you do is you jump in joy. You don't sink in joy, you jump. Because joy and bliss are nothing but a state wherein you have let go. You're just soaring higher and higher. Have the courage to let go. So with that, let's have Q&A. Yes, Baba. Yes, questions, please. Yes, Peter. What? What?
She's talking about something.
Right now, can she wait?
Yeah.
Tell her I'll call her.
Yeah. No, she's waiting.
Tell her I'll call her.
No.
Any questions? Anyone wants to share anything? Okay, no questions? I don't know how many of you heard Swami live today, but Swami has mentioned that for the next 7 days, or especially during Navratris, to do self-reflections every 2 hours. Now, you know how we were doing 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m.? Now, Swami wants us to do it every 2 hours. Fun, fun. So, if the Divine Mother so wills, we will keep having our daily satsangs, keep listening to what she has to say, and have the courage to let go. So, on that note, we will end the satsang. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sorry. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I don't know, I'm laughing. I better end the meeting before I start hysterically laughing. Okay, we will meet again next satsang. All right.